rejected by the government, would not be accepted by the government. How this happens, right? What are the processes which are involved? Are there some theoretical models which can explain these processes, right? Are there ways in which a particular policy can be evaluated? What the theories have to contribute in the whole process. So, so that is where these theoretical approaches, they become significant. They come in handy rather in terms of ready-made reference to understand a particular policy. There would be some models: rational model, systems model, public choice theory, advocacy coalition framework, right? Now, these are some of the models which definitely were developed in a specific context. But these again help us in understanding the whole process of policy making, whole process of the way it would be implemented, the whole process of the relationship between objectives, ideas, purposes with the way policy was formulated and implemented. In terms of knowing the outcomes, can the outcomes be predicted? Right? Why the desired outcomes could not be achieved when a particular policy was implemented? What were the gaps? Right? So this is where the models and theories, they would be helpful. And these models and theories, they draw significantly. I'm not saying heavily, or I'm not saying that they reflect the contents of the discipline, but they draw significantly from the disciplines in natural sciences and mathematics. So that is where it would be models, right? So rational model and systems model, so they help us in terms of understanding. See, some of the terms would be familiar with you, right? Especially the systems model. You all must have read and must be familiar with David Stern's systems approach or systems theory, right? So this is something application of the same theory in terms of developing a model to understand, analyze, and evaluate the policies of the government. Okay, so these two units would form the background and the theoretical insight into the subject, which would help you further understanding the whole policy process in India. So that's what is the third unit which you would study. Okay, so the policy process in India, right? Now, say for instance, take the present case, COVID-19, right? Now the government keeps coming with certain directives. The government keeps suggesting that what the people should do, what the healthcare workers they should do, right? Which all services would be allowed, which all services cannot be opened at this juncture. The way Ministry of Human Resource Development, for instance, MHRD, has decided that okay, the face-to-face classes, are not to be resumed till the time situation normalizes. How one would understand that situation has become normal, right? Is it that government all of a sudden takes the decisions, or are there some policies in the background which guides the activities or actions of the government, right? So when policies are framed in India, then what are those stages? What are those processes which are followed? Who are all who formulate the policies? Is it that when we say the foreign policy of Modi government, then only the Minister of External Affairs, that is, the foreign minister, right, who Jaishankar, right, foreign minister Jaishankar, he only takes the decisions? Or what role the whole Indian Foreign Service has to play in the whole policy making process, right? When we say the foreign policy of the government of India, is it that government's arms bureaucracy, they are the only actors, right? Are there certain ideas, are there certain values which are given consideration to, which are given importance to when policies are made, or the government randomly decides considering the facts in mind, and it declares that this is what would be the policy of the government, right? Then who would implement the policy? How the policy would be implemented? How the decisions would be taken that a particular policy has to be implemented, right? All these things, they become part of the policy, the policy process in India. Meaning that, when I'm referring to the third unit as policy process in India, I mean that we would need to understand the stages in the formulation of the policy, the way policies are implemented, and the way policies are implemented, and how the evaluation of the outcomes of the policy would be done, right? So that's what that's what would be content of the third unit, that is policy process in India. Okay. And in that we would look at the ideas, institutions, actors, right? So the issues or the points I was trying to raise earlier. Okay, so these three units, they would be would be focusing on the policies, public policy, the discipline of particular the discipline of public policy, right? Then the last two units, they are focused on administration. So how policy is different from administration then, right? What is the relationship? So one is the difference, and another is the relationship that we'll be focusing on. Okay. So towards the last two units, unit 4 and unit 5, we would try to look at some of the concepts in public administration first, some of the public administration theories, right? Then we would come to the public administration in India. Now, public administration in India, in a sense that when we say administration, when we say the way government functions, these are not the things which have not happened in the past. Meaning that since ancient days, when the state came into existence, the people who were responsible for ruling, they did act in a manner which possibly we are trying to understand and study systematically as part of these two disciplines, public policy and administration, right? But as I mentioned earlier, the evolution of these disciplines, and especially as part of academic subjects, they are fairly new developments, and they are the developments of the 20th century, right? So when I say administration and policy, I mean that the way these two issues have been treated systematically as part of the academic discipline. So that is where some of the administrative theories, they would be significant for us, which again would give us some understanding of the administrative processes and administration, and we would move to understand that if we can find some historical continuity as far as the administration is concerned. So that's why the historical roots, right? So can we